Welcome to The Clever Angle, the podcast where you get job shadowing experience without the job shadowing. I'm your host, Tevin McGee, and without further ado, let's get into it. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to own your own restaurant? Well, if you have, today is your lucky day. We sit down with proprietor Spencer Exum of Outback Steakhouse, and he gives you all the advice, the skills, and the qualifications that it takes to own your own restaurant. We have a very special guest on the show today. We have my boy Spencer. We used to be roommates. We used to work together, groomsmen in his wedding. How are you doing today, Spencer?
Doing good.
So Spencer is a proprietor at a restaurant here in Jonesboro. We actually both used to work there. Spencer, can you tell us like a little bit what a proprietor / partner does?
It basically what it is. I'm the managing partner. I oversee day-to-day operations. I make sure that the restaurant runs well, that we have all the things we need to do to be successful, and that we are. My main goal is to make sure that my people are happy, and therefore we can make my customers happy.
Okay, so just explain like a day to day. Okay, so what time do you go in? Is your schedule set? And just take us through a regular day as being a partner.
There is no such thing as a regular day being a partner.
I kind of know that, but
my schedule varies. On a volume shift, I'll get to work at 10 o'clock. I'll go home at around 9. I go in, make sure we're set up for success, make sure that we're using the proper safety and sanitation measures, make sure we have the product we need to sell the food, and make sure we have enough people scheduled to actually function, and give the customers what they come to get. So basically, they come for a show and they get some food along with it, and it's my job to make sure that all of that runs well. So I try to delegate out the manual labor tasks of it so I can focus on doing what the customers need.
Okay, let's say I am a blank slate and I'm 18 years old. I'm just graduating from high school. How would I get to where you're at? Does it require like a college degree?
It has absolutely no weight in anything. It is all about hard work and effort. I have a degree in biology, and it is getting dusty on my bookshelf at home. I don't use it at all. A lot of partners don't choose to go to college. They work in the restaurant. They work their way up. It's basically based off of, like I said, effort. I started out as a host in 2011, worked my way up to server, and then bartender / key. And then after graduating college, I decided to go into salary management, and then you start right back down at the bottom of the totem pole and work your way back up again.
Okay, so what are all the jobs that you've done at Outback?
At Outback Steakhouse, I have been, like I said, host, server, bar, key, front of house manager, back of house manager, senior manager, managing partner. The only thing I haven't done is bus tables. Okay, so well, like I said, we talked about a little bit earlier about being a blank slate. So, so when you were in high school and you graduated and everybody asked you, oh, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go to school at? What do you want to be? What was that answer for you? I wanted to be a doctor, and there was nothing in the world that was going to change my mind.
Okay, so how do you go from I'm going to be a doctor, go to med school? You already talked about having the biology degree. How did you get so far in the opposite direction to be in the hospitality service business and to be a partner of a restaurant?
There really are a lot of similarities in it. I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to help people and I wanted to make a difference. And my job now allows me to do that. I'm able to provide a future for people that may not have had one in another way. I give people the opportunity to have a second chance in certain cases. Some people that are deemed as unhireable for whatever reason, they can come in and work for me, and they have a steady paycheck. They have a way to provide for their family. They have a way to pay rent. So I'm not saving lives, but I like to think that I'm making a little bit of a difference. in the lives of the people that work for me. And again, we get to provide an experience for customers that, coming to Outback is an experience that some people save up for months for, and we have to make sure we get it right for them. And we've got to make sure that we validate their choices to come eat with us. So I do get to make a difference. Also have the opportunity to develop young people and hopefully teach them some responsibility before they head out into the real world and do whatever they plan on doing after school.
Okay, so you said you graduated high school 2007, right? Okay, so you started working at Outback in 2011. So that's probably around your senior year of college. So have you had any other jobs in between Outback? And when did you decide that this was going to be something that you were going to try to make a career?
I worked for my grandfather from the time I was 12 until I was working at Outback.
You worked at a vet's office too, somewhere in there.
I did some summer work at a vet hospital, doing blood work and things like that in Paragould, and because again the game plan was to be a doctor, and I needed some sort of clinical experience. Loved doing it; it was a lot of fun, and I would do it again today if I could. And then I did a short stint as a seasonal employee at Old Navy.
Okay, there you go.
Start at the back, fold the clothes, go up to the front, go right back to the back, and start it all over again for 8 hours. It was very monotonous, but it was a job. So
okay, so you said you started off as a host. How has your opinion of the restaurant changed, and just like the overall service industry changed as you like have slowly climbed the totem pole and got to see the restaurant from different perspectives? How is it looking now that you're at the top and you're the partner?
When I started as a host, I remember very specifically turning around one night when I was closing and seeing several servers and cooks gathered around the bar hanging out, and I was like, I can't believe that these people are so lame that all they do is sit around Outback Steakhouse and hang out. Like, don't they have friends? Blah blah blah. And then I remember about a month later, I was one of those people sitting at the bar waiting on everybody to get off work so we could go out and have a good time. And it's crazy because Outback's, the foundation of Outback is we have a field guide that has principles and beliefs in it, and it's designed to make you a better person, and not just in a restaurant setting, but it builds teamwork, it builds family, and that's what you become the longer you're there. I have made friendships that will last a lifetime just because I worked at Outback Steakhouse, and it's crazy thinking about it because like in normal life you would never like picture certain groups of people hanging out together, but in a restaurant it's just commonplace.
Yeah, and I can definitely speak to that. It was like a family unit when we were up there. I mean, you work long hours with the same people over and over.
You rely on them to make money.
There's a huge teamwork aspect to it. And, like, you can't help but get close to these people. And like I said, I mean, we lived together, but our friendship was forged at Outback, hosting and bartending and serving tables and all that. Not having a consistent schedule, how do you make time for your family?
The first thing I do, I write my schedule a month in advance, and I text my wife or talk to my wife and ask her what we have going on, what I need off for, and then I write my schedule based off of that. If it's, parent-teacher conferences, I'm off for that so I can be there to support my kids. If it's a family function, a birthday party, or whatever, I make sure that I'm off so I can be there with them. I try to make sure that I schedule myself in late, at least one day on the weekend, so that I can spend some time with the boys and Lindsay. And then I just try to fit it in where I can. There's a lot of freedom in the restaurant industry to work different hours. Like I said, right now my wife and kids are all in school, so I try to work shifts where I'm at work during the day and I can be home earlier at night. That way I can still see them and take care of them and let them know that I'm there for them.
Okay, so like I said, we were talking a little bit about the roadmap of what it takes to be a proprietor. Tell us about your journey
It
more
took
specifically.
it a little shy of 9 years from the time I was hired. It was about 8 years from the time I was hired until I took the store. Started out, I got the job to help a manager out. She was actually taking some college classes with me, and she was in dire need of some hose. Told her I'd never done it, but I'd be happy to help for a couple of weeks until they got on their feet.
A couple of weeks.
And then I would go find something else. I liked it enough to not leave and go find something else. I liked it enough to, in the beginning, I liked hosting. I liked the structure of that because I had a boss named Jerry Stinnett who was very strict and very structured, and it's kind of what I grew up with, so it suited me well. I knew that if I did what I was supposed to do, I wouldn't get yelled at, and if I didn't do what I was supposed to do, then I deserved to get yelled at. So I didn't mind it, but then they trained me to wait tables, and you start making money. You start making adequate money as a server. I remember when I knew that I was making the right amount of money for my lifestyle. I'm not saying I was getting rich or anything. I remember we planned a trip to spring break like 10 days before we left, and I was able to save almost $1,000 for the trip just by working part-time as a server.
Yeah.
And there's no other job when you're in college that can pay you that kind of money.
There's really not, and man, it's so addicting
tax.
too.
Yeah, 10% tax on all of it. The government, you're getting rich off the government, basically. So they think, but it's just the money's always been right, and I've always felt like I was treated fairly for the most part. There have been times when you feel like you're being mistreated. You get looked over for promotions that you feel like you've earned, but I've learned over the years, and not just at Outback, but in everything, that when it's supposed to happen, it's going to. So you just kind of have to sit back and enjoy the ride while you can. And if you feel like it's not worth it, then you go do something else, and that at the end is what was supposed to happen anyways. So
yeah. So what would you say was your favorite thing about working at Outback or in the service industry?
My favorite thing about working at Outback is and I've always said this from the minute I got into management, it is the look on somebody's face when you see them learn something and they actually get it. Like, you can tell people how to do something all day long, and they may do it for a minute while you're watching them, but they may not do it correctly forever. But that light bulb that goes off and you actually see somebody learn something, it's like, that's what makes me go to work every day.
Okay. So what would you say was the biggest opportunity or challenge from being a partner?
It's having to rely on other people. So when you're a manager, you do a little bit, but you can muscle through it. When you're a server, you can take care of your tables and don't really have to rely on anybody else a whole lot. You're supposed to, but you don't have to. You can muscle through it. But once you become a partner, there's so many facets that you have to oversee that there is physically no way to do it all by yourself. And if you try, you will burn out and you will be extremely unsuccessful. So it's just trusting people and knowing that they also have your best interest at heart.
Yeah, that's definitely tough. It's basically you have to take a leap of faith. You have to, put your trust in these people that they're going to use the things that you've taught them and go out there and be successful. And, that's going to be a reflection of you. Right. Your name's on the door when people walk in the Outback. So, I mean, however their experience is going to be, it's going to go from you and it's going to go down. Mm-hmm. So, how has it been? Like I said, we briefly were talking off air about the new restaurants and things so I left in 2017. What's been going on at Outback since 2017? And how long have you been a partner now?
Took over in May, so almost a year. And there's been a lot of changes. We've developed a new purpose for the company. It's the authentic service purpose, which is to ensure a memorable dining experience, make each guest day better. We realized as a company that we were trying to make money in all the wrong ways when we should have been focusing on guest relations and making sure that they're enjoying themselves. And that's basically what we do every single day. We go to work, used to, you made sure that the service uniform looked good and you just set them on their way. Now you got to make sure they're in the right frame of mind. If they're having a bad day, maybe they don't need to work.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You're taking the mental health aspect in this.
Absolutely. Mental health is extremely, extremely important in the service industry because you're dealing with the public. And,
it's so hard, bro.
As a server, you got 100 bosses.
Yeah.
And you've got to make sure that, and again, you got to make sure that you validate people's decision to come spend their money with you because, money is tight for everyone. And for you to want to come see me and spend what could have taken, 6 hours of your life to earn it's a special thing and it's a big responsibility, and we got to make sure that we get it right. Whereas maybe in years past we were more worried about just running and gunning. Now we're more focused on creating that experience and creating memories for customers. We get birthday cards out to people. We do all those little things that Outback does well. We share food on a wait. We bring in kids' food first. We do all of those little things that Outback has always been known for. But now we make sure that we go above and beyond even that and just try to do our part to make people feel good about coming to see us. Because there's a lot of choices. And more keep opening up every day.
What kind of marketing strategies are you using?
The best marketing we can do is just to get it right when they decide to come eat with us. The average customer eats at Outback Steakhouse 0.9 times a year.
Really?
Yeah. And so you have to take into account the Waynes, the David Baileys, the Birches, all of those people that come in multiple times a week, and then the other table might come once every 3 years. So it's a matter of getting it right. And when they get their bill, they look down at it and they're like, was that worth $50? And we have to make sure that every single time they get that bill and they ask that question, that the answer is yes. And that's how you build sales. And then, couponing helps. But that'll get them in the door. But if you get them in the door, take $5 off and completely crap the bed with it, you're just out $5.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you're taking care of the people once you get them in the door. We do give back nights. I do marketing with local schools and to try to help raise money for their booster clubs and stuff like that, so they can get new athletic equipment. I do a program with Douglas MacArthur Junior High, where it's it used to be called Accelerated Reader when I was in school. I don't know what it's called now, but they hit their reading goals and we give them a free meal. So we give the kids a free meal, and so they get excited. They want a prize, and they get to come out and have hopefully a nice dinner on us. And we've done that a couple of times now. So
okay, so y'all hadn't started delivery when I was there. How was that going? And
man,
has that increased the takeaway /
yes, it's made it busier. We are also on DoorDash, which adds another element to it. It's kind of pricey, but it's I use it.
Yeah, my thing is, what is the advantage of using DoorDash versus just using Outback Delivery?
You don't have to talk to anybody on the phone.
Okay.
The way society works now, nobody wants to talk to anybody. That's why delivery is taking off on it and everything. Outback was a little bit ahead of the curve on it. We started delivery before we started doing in-house delivery before most restaurants did.
Who else does delivery now in Jonesboro?
I don't know if anybody does in Jonesboro. But some people are on like Jonesboro To Go or Uber Eats or whatever bite squad. But the people are scared to get out. People don't want to get out. They want to sit at home, which is totally fine. And I'm one of those people. Like, I enjoy sitting in my house when I'm not working. So there's nothing like getting a nice meal from a restaurant without ever having to leave home. And you can do that, pay an extra $5-6 to get somebody to bring it to you. That's winning, and you don't even have to take you don't have to get out of your pajamas. Yeah. The company did a lot of research, and they put a lot of money into figuring out what works best. We changed our to-go boxes. They're like microwavable, they're reusable, like they're legit, and they hold the food hot. Whereas like the styrofoam boxes you get at most places don't keep it warm as long. But these, they're like some weird plastic stuff, but it'll keep food hot for like a long time. I put food in the to-go box.
Yeah, I mean,
forgot about it.
Yeah, the little black ones.
Yeah, and then it was hot like 45 minutes later. So
I think the first restaurant I saw that I really noticed that on was like Olive Garden.
Yeah,
Olive Garden had those, but yeah, when I saw y'all, I was like, yeah, that's definitely a lot better than the white styrofoam boxes that we had when I was there, for sure.
Yeah, so they did that. That helps. And then we have, when we do delivery, we have delivery bags that are insulated. They keep food hot. So it's coming to you. It's going to be hot. You won't be able to ask for extra sauce if you didn't do it on the phone or online, but you still get the food is there. The quality is there. And on DoorDash, they won't do certain items that they don't feel will hold up to their delivery standards. Their delivery standards are different than ours. But people who use DoorDash understand that, so they don't care.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything's going to deliver. You can get Kroger to deliver groceries to your house for $10.
Way more convenient.
And it's so, creepy and dangerous out there for people. Like, I remember before we had Walden, we took Smith to Walmart, and some guy was just like staring at him, and that was with me being there.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to get in between them to get the guy to go away. And I don't want. Lindsay does the pickup, the Walmart pickup.
Yeah.
So she just pulls up to a parking spot and bring it to her.
They do that at Target too. Yeah. Target, Kroger, Walmart.
They all do it. And we do that because you take two kids in, you're by yourself, somebody snatches one of your kids, you're screwed.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You can't fight them all off. So it's a sad world.
Yeah, it's just not practical to be able to like grocery shop with two kids.
No.
It's not until they can like
you used to be able to just like let your kids roam around. I remember growing up, like I go hide in the clothing aisle. I was gone for like 45 minutes one time. My parents were about ready to call the police, but it took them 45 minutes to get ready to call the police.
Yeah, exactly. You just go play on the toy aisle or go to the electronics or whatever.
They come pick you up and they were done.
And then exactly. You just look for them. Okay, well they're about to check out now. But that's the crazy thing.
I don't even let my kids in the front yard.
Yeah, it's like, dude, for real.
They're not allowed to go up front without me being up there or Lindsay being up there. They have to play in the backyard. I just don't trust people. And I'm not even like that crazy, cynical guy. Why risk it if I don't have to? And that's how people are with everything nowadays. I haven't gone to that extreme yet, but if you want a nice meal and you don't want to deal with people, you don't want to deal with getting sick during flu season, bring it to your house.
Yeah.
You don't have to get out and do anything.
What do you think is the biggest difference between when we grew up versus when our kids are going to be coming up? What do you think it's going to be like when our kids are 15, 16 years old?
The information highway is insane. So that's ruining our lives and making them better all at the same time. Mm-hmm. But it's just going to be, there's not going to be anything they don't know.
Yeah.
Our parents were able to keep secrets and keep things from us that we didn't need to know about. Like I remember growing up, and I was talking to Lindsay about this. She's got, they're 10, 11-year-olds that are talking about their tax return. Like, I got my taxes in, I'm about to go shopping, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're 10, you didn't file taxes, but that's what they see their parents doing. But when I was growing up, dude, I knew that April 15th was the tax deadline. And I only knew that because I remember one year we had an away baseball game, and my parents were like, "Oh, we got to make sure we get the taxes turned in before the game."
Yeah.
Like, That's all I remember about taxes growing up. My parents wouldn't talk to me about who they voted for, why they voted for who they voted for, or any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was a private thing, and there's no such thing as privacy anymore. There's no repercussions for anything anymore. That's the problem. And I sound like an old angry douchebag, but the problem that I see with the workforce nowadays and with just people in general is like nobody is raising winners. Like winning doesn't matter.
Participation trophies.
When I was growing up, winning was the only thing that mattered.
Yeah.
Like if you weren't winning, you might as well quit.
Oh
like,
my gosh, man!
But quitting wasn't an option, so you better start winning.
Yeah.
I vividly remember I was like 9 years old, and we had runners on second and third with 2 outs, and game on the line, and I popped out, and my dad was a first base coach, and I looked over at him, and he was just like had his head down, shaking his head in disappointment, and I was 8. And I never felt more useless in my entire life. And I was like, I will never feel that way again. So I made sure that the next time I got up, I didn't pop out. So, like, there was a desire to be better. And now it doesn't matter if you're better because at the end of the game, you get a freaking ice cream cone.
Yeah. Our kids are going to experience a way different elementary, junior high, high school than we are. You've got magnet schools of any type of learning that you want,
which is nuts because they're 5.
Yeah, now
people can't retain information anymore. Like, I run into the problem a lot at work. I'm like, hey, this is how this is supposed to be done. And they're like, well, I didn't know that. And I'm like, well, I find that hard to believe because I literally just talked to you about it yesterday. And they're like, and once you bring it up, they're like, oh yeah, but I totally forgot. And it's because they don't have to remember anything anymore. It's just the way we've made society. Everything is gone in the blink of an eye. It doesn't matter anymore. It's irrelevant. It's out the window, whatever. But you don't have to retain information for anything. So
you really don't.
I feel like we've taken technology a little bit too far every now and again. And we need to dial it back a little bit, especially in school. Like they're in the 5th grade and they get their own iPad.
3rd grade, pretty much. Yeah,
I was a full-grown adult before I got an iPad.
Before I got a phone.
Simpler times. I got 50 texts a month. Didn't use any of them. Didn't have anybody's phone number but my parents.
Yeah, exactly.
None of my friends had a phone.
Now kids are FaceTiming each other at 5 and 6, and it's just crazy. They're just growing up so much faster. We kind of got off topic, but I mean, it is what it is. It's a free flowing podcast. So, what advice would you give somebody that is looking to embark in a restaurant-driven career? And what is a timeline you would give somebody if they're going from 0 and they want to be a proprietor? How long would that take?
It all depends. It like I said, it's a different situation for everybody. The guy who was the partner before me worked for the company for 12 years before he became a partner. I was with the company for 8. Some people are hired on as partners. They're obviously people with a lot of restaurant experience. But I would say you're looking at probably a good 3 to 5 years if you just go in and get it. And that'd be like a best case scenario.
How long did it take you?
It took me 8 years. I started as a host, worked my way up, but I refused to go into salary management until I graduated college. So
when you went in MIT, you were already graduated?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I told they offered it to me, and I told them I wouldn't drop out of college to go into management. I wanted to finish the degree. It was something my family wanted me to do, and I was fortunate enough to have it paid for, so I didn't want to waste the opportunity. So I went ahead, got my degree, graduated, got a job offer at a different company, and was going to have to relocate. And when I was talking to my boss about it, he offered me salary management again. So from the moment I got into salary management,
what job was that you were going to have to relocate for?
Enterprise.
Okay.
Yeah, Enterprise Management Program. It's going to be in Little Rock, and Outback said we'll leave you in Jonesboro. We'll pay you more money if you stay. So
okay, so when I was there, that was a huge part of like MIT was like pretty much forcing you to relocate to a different place in the region. Yeah. Is it still like that, or are they still they're allowing people like to stay where they are?
Yeah, every manager I have is from Jonesboro.
Wow.
And won't move.
Well, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, that's good. Like,
yeah, I mean, it is. But the thing is, people are starting to get into management later in life. Like, my front of house manager, Monty, he's been a manager for 2 years. He's 32 years old and has a 6-year-old daughter. So he's already established a life and a family here that his daughter relies on. My kitchen manager, Katie, is 32 years old, been a manager for a year and a half, has 4 kids in the area. Now he just had a baby a week or so ago. And Dalton, my other manager, he...
Please don't say he has kids.
No kids. Has a girlfriend, has a house here. He rents, but he's responsible for housing here. His family's here. But people just are... It's not like it used to be. Used to you got promoted into salary management. You were 21, 22 years old. You could go wherever because you didn't have anything holding you back.
Yeah.
And everybody was money hungry. And now, you can't put a price tag on peace of mind. So
you really can't.
Everybody's doing their own thing, and I'd rather go sell mattresses and stay in my neighborhood than go be a restaurant manager somewhere.
Exactly. And that was like the biggest thing about like that kind of turned me off from it, because it was definitely something I considered multiple times, but I'm like, I don't know if I would uproot my life and especially go to somewhere that I didn't really want to go. Like I don't want to go to Meridian. I don't want to go to Jackson.
Nobody wants to go.
Like I don't want to go to South Haven. Like I don't want to do that.
South Haven would be cool, but
yeah, that would probably be the best one. But my thing is, as far as like the store and having it, like it's a different clientele. Mm-hmm. It's a different, everything. You have to sell your house, and it's just a lot, man. Right. Especially when you're already working at the same company, and they're basically telling you, no, well, this is what we have, and if you don't want that, then you don't want this. So,
right. And I think they do it as a scare tactic sometimes because they've moved very few managers, and they made sure that all of them were okay with it.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is, you get down there and you move, and so you rely on Outback to, make you friends and make you a family.
Yeah.
And I feel like at the end of the day, it probably makes you a better manager because you can focus on your job. You don't have anything holding you back. And when you're a new manager, the hardest part about it is trying to find time to get everything done. And you feel like you're working 24/7, even though you're really not. Especially nowadays, like we don't schedule in more than 48 hours a week. And when I was a manager, my first year I was working 65, 70 hours a week, and it wasn't a lot of fun. But I got through it because I had good friends with me, and now we realize as a company that was a terrible idea. We shouldn't have done that to people, and so we're changing our ways, and we schedule between 45 and 48 hours a week.
Yeah.
And, teachers work that.
Yeah. I mean, I probably work 45 hours a week, easy.
Right.
Just from, that's just 8 hours plus an extra hour a day. You know what I mean? So, okay. So I'm going to have some not restaurant related, just rapid fire questions for you, and then we'll wrap it up and we'll be done. What podcast do you listen to, if any?
Man, I don't really listen to any. I do every now and again. I'll listen to the Ben Shapiro podcast just because I think it's really funny. And then Jocko Willink, he's written 3 really good books that I like, so I listen to his every now and again. But I'm not real big into podcasts.
More of a reader? What would you say?
I'm a newfound reader.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, it was only a matter of time before Lindsay converted you to reading. So that's not a surprise there. What's the best movie you've seen in the last year?
Oh man.
Because if you stop watching movies, we can't be friends anymore.
Man, it's few and far between. Like I said, I watched that movie last night with Mark. In the last 3 days, I've watched 2 Mark Wahlberg movies, and they were both pretty good. I watched one with Lindsay Saturday night, and I don't know the name of it, but him and a girl, they adopted 3 kids.
Instant family.
Yeah,
Instant family.
That was a good one.
It was.
I really liked that movie. And I liked it even more at the very end when they, I apparently missed the part where they said based on a true story.
Yeah.
And had no idea that was real life. And so I liked it even more at the end when I found out that it was a true story and that people actually do good things.
Yeah.
And then, man, Frozen 2 was pretty solid.
Really? I saw Frozen 1. It was pretty good. I didn't see it.
Frozen 2 is the only movie that I've seen in the theater since they redid it. And it was a good movie. But
okay, if you had any advice to give to your 18-year-old self, what would it be? This is rapid fire, man. This is the first thing you going back. Bam, 07. Spencer from 07. What do you say to him?
Don't go to college.
Okay. That's a yeah. And I
don't want to say that it. You just got to think about it. I mean, there are a lot of good things that came from college, but I don't use the degree. But I never would have met you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See,
I do not regret any of the experiences.
I mean, ever. I still probably worked at Outback.
And if I didn't go to college, I wouldn't have gotten the job at Outback. If I wouldn't have gotten the job at Outback, I wouldn't have met my wife. If I didn't meet my wife, I wouldn't have the family I have today. So it all played out. But it was just the actual act of college was just a colossal waste of money. Mm-hmm. And I could have just gone to trade school.
Do you
just gone to Outback quicker?
Yeah. Do you think that that's becoming a trend?
I think so. I mean, the thing about it is, and everybody that's growing up with the participation trophy attitude would not bode well in trade school, because trade school requires a lot of hard work. Like, those jobs pay you really well because they're really hard to do. Like, HVAC work is extremely hard, it's extremely dangerous. I've seen a dude catch himself on fire. People will get electrocuted, their heart will stop, whatever, you'll lose a finger. But the money is great, but you have to be willing to work. So you can't be one of those little participation trophy babies and do well in trade school. You should probably go to college.
Yeah.
But I think it's a trend because that's where the money is right now. But by the time they get done, by the time Smith gets old enough to make that decision for himself, there's a chance the money's going to be back in college. Because at one point in time, getting a bachelor's degree was guaranteed great money. Now you almost have to have a doctorate.
Yeah.
At least a master's to even be.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, man. They're like, okay, you have to have a bachelor's, $50,000 for that, and then you have to have a master. That's another $30,000-$40,000. If you get a doctorate, that's $60,000. Right. So it's just like, man, I just wish that they would make it more affordable, man. I'm not saying I just think it's got to be more affordable for the middle class.
There's got to be a better way. There should be more scholarships for non-athletes.
Yeah.
The schools are making enough money off of athletics that they should be able to afford the athletes tuition without the college taking the hit, and they should be able to offer more scholarships for academics and whatever. But the football program is making $5-6 million a year. That'll cover the football team, and then some. So I don't like the idea of and putting in athlete only buildings that the regular student's tuition pays for is kind of silly. But I got a buddy who's a teacher. He got his master's so that he could get a raise, but now his entire raise goes to paying back the student loan for his master's degree.
Wow.
Yeah. The good news is after a year or so, it the government pays half of it off because it's a student, it's a teacher thing, but it just kind of defeats the purpose. in the beginning.
Last one. Since you've been a partner, what was your last big purchase?
A house.
Okay, yeah, that's a big purchase.
Bought a house.
Okay, well, Spencer, it's always good catching up with you, man. I appreciate you coming on the show. I'm sure we'll catch up soon. But I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and everyone have a blessed day. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thank you again for all your support. Be on the lookout for more content and have a good day.